Hello, viewers. Welcome to the beautiful and exotic world of orchids. This is my orchid world. Hope you have been watching my other beautiful videos on my channel. There are some very important and interesting information about orchids which you need to know if you are growing orchids. Today in this video we will be watching the beautiful orchid, the Francis Firefox. Usually I do not have tags on my orchids because I am not very concerned about them. What matters for me are the beautiful blooms. What you see on the screen is the very beautiful, one of my most favorite orchids, the Francis Firefox Catteleya orchid. The Catteleya orchids usually are all high orchids, like high water requirement, high light requirement, and high humidity requirement, and also high fertilizer requirement. Usually I have all my Catteleya orchids are hybrid orchids. I do not have any species orchid because I haven't been able to buy one, so I'll try one. But for the time being, let us focus our attention on this beautiful orchid. The lip of the orchid, as you can see, is very beautiful. When it first blooms, it is a very nice, very beautiful pink. As the days goes by, the orchid changes its color, and this is one of the orchids which changes color as it goes by, as the blooms spends time. As you can see, this is a 3-day-old Francis bloom. As you have seen the previous, as if you compare it with the previous bloom just now that you have seen, the color changes. The petals change their colors from a very reddish, yellowish to oranges, very bright, very sunny color, and the edges of the petals are a bit orangish, reddish. Actually, it loses color as it passes the days. The lip has also changed the color. The pink, beautiful pink color has gone, and it has shimmered and it has become lighter. The dot pattern on the lip is very attractive, very magnificent. As you can see, the dots haven't faded. The dots are still there, but the lip color, the edges, the fudgy edges have lost the colors, but still it is very beautiful. You can say when it first blooms, it is the dawn colors, just like the colors of the sky when it is dawn, and as days passes by, the color changes to bright daylight colors. So this is a very magnificent combination of colors. From you can find all hues of colors in this beautiful orchid. I had bought it for about 750 rupees, and it has lost, in the initial years it lost few of the buds, and once it loses a bud, the peculiar part that happens in this case is, in the case of Francis Firefox, is that if it loses the buds for some reason, say if you accidentally damage it or is eaten up by some mites or critters, then it is not going to bloom in that year for you. That is a very disappointing news, but not very disappointing, not that disappointing, because next year it will again put out a spike and it will bloom again. Last year I had 4 blooms, and this year I have seen 5 buds. 2 of them have bloomed. Did you just see the burst of colors that these blooms have? They are so mesmerizing. So a quick let us discuss about the care tips. So as I had said before, the Francis Firefox is a Catteleya orchid. It is a hybrid Catteleya orchid, so it needs everything high sunlight, high light, high water, and high humidity, and high fertilizer content. So on the screen you can see the measurements of light and water and humidity. So to start with, the Catteleya Francis Firefox needs high amount of light. About it should be in a very bright shade. Initially when I had bought her, I didn't know much about her care. So over the months that I took care of her, I got to know, I studied about her on the internet, and I came to know that she needs a very bright light. I had initially kept her in a lightly shaded position. So in that as I had seen that her leaves had turned dark green, so that is a very important sign that you need to know if you are caring for orchids. If the orchid leaves are becoming dark green, that means they need to be moved to a higher light area, higher bright light area. Keep them shaded all the time, because harsh direct sunlight is very detrimental for them. They can damage the leaves and the canes as well, the pseudobulbs as well, because the pseudobulbs tend to lose all the energy that it has stored in it for the plant. And in direct sunlight it can be harsh, and always avoid direct sunlight on hybrid orchids. That is a very golden rule that I follow. And sometimes that this rule gets bent because you have other chores to do, other jobs, you have your own job. So from time and again this rule gets bent, but you can recover your orchid once you are onto it. So daily checking is a very important thing. Direct harsh sunlight can cause damage to your leaves. The leaf tissue at that portion will be damaged and black spots will appear. If the leaf is not that severely damaged, it will continue to grow and it will continue to provide nourishment. A heavy feeder like Francis Firefox needs high amount of water. For heavy feeders, heavy feeder orchids, the best method is to soak them in a bucket full of water for about 15 to 20 minutes. These Catteleya orchids, hybrid Catteleya orchids, need water just like the Vanda orchids, which are also heavy feeder orchids. So the best method to water them is to soak them as per the requirement in a bucket full of water, and then once the roots get saturated with water, you can just take them off from the bucket. We need to keep a watch on the orchids for the water requirement, when to water them. So we need to decide on the watering schedule as per the requirement of the orchid. The orchid may have, it also depends on the medium in which the orchid is potted. If it is completely bark, it may need frequent watering, and if it has some amount of sphagnum moss, you may do it on alternate. To fertilize the Francis Firefox, the method is similar to watering them. Just like you soak them in a bucket full of water for their water requirement, you can do the same procedure for fertilizer, for providing fertilizer to the Francis Firefox. Mix your fertilizer in water. Always preferable, it is preferable to take a water soluble fertilizer, so that the orchid can easily take up the fertilizer from the water. So mix the fertilizer in water and then soak the orchid in the solution. As you have seen, the Francis Firefox is a heavy orchid. It has long canes, it has long pseudobulbs, and the leaves are also quite big. So it is always advisable to stake them with some kind of stick or any support that you can provide them. The leaves are quite heavy, and the canes, the pseudobulbs tend to bend outward from the pot. So to make it a little ruly, to make it a little tidy, you can stake them. You can provide them any kind of stakes, any kind of bamboo skewers you can use. I use a metal long wire which is quite sturdy, which has a outer covering of plastic. The Francis Firefox is a collectibles orchid. I'm sure its beauty, its color, the burst of colors in the blooms have mesmerized you. For me, as a orchid collector, I always go for the color of the blooms. Faded color blooms usually do not attract me. What I get attracted to are the vibrant colors, pinks, yellows, goldens, reds, everything attracts me. But pale colored usually I am not very attracted to. So if you have got mesmerized by this beauty, do get one for yourself. I'm sure you will love its presence in your orchid house, in your orchid collection. So go for it, you will always love it. And that's all for today. Please let me know how you have liked this video. Please give it a like and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.